What if I told you there's a small game rifle that's more refined, more effective, and arguably more elegant than a 22? A gun that delivers not just precision and power but also carries a level of craftsmanship that modern firearms just don't match. Today, we're stepping back in time to take a closer look at a forgotten classic, the Rook rifle. These rifles were once the go-to choice for small game hunting in the United Kingdom and beyond. Back in their prime, they were the ideal firearms for taking down rabbits, rooks, and other small quarries with incredible accuracy. But over time, as rimfire ammunition became more popular and easier to produce, these centerfire beauties slowly faded into obscurity. Today, they're mostly in the hands of collectors and a few dedicated enthusiasts who understands just how special they really are. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the history of the Rook rifle, what makes it stand out from the crowd, and why it might just be the perfect small game gun, better than a 22 in more ways than one. I'll show you some incredible examples and explain why these rifles are still relevant today. Around the late 19th century, small game hunters needed something accurate, lightweight, and powerful enough to dispatch their target cleanly. That's when the Rabbit and Rook rifles started gaining popularity. Originally, they were called garden guns, and they were designed for precisely that, hunting small animals in gardens and farmlands without causing too much noise or destruction. Most of these rifles came out of the United Kingdom, but Belgium and other European countries also produced them. They were simple, elegant, and extremely well made. The name Rook rifle comes from the birds they were commonly used to hunt, rooks, which are similar to crows but with slightly different roosting and feeding habits. These birds were considered pests, and farmers needed an efficient way to control their populations without resorting to shotguns that could cause collateral damage. Originally, these rifles were chambered in a variety of centerfire calibers, all designed specifically for small game hunting. Unlike the 22, which was still in its early years, these cartridges offered superior performance, better reliability, and cleaner kills. Many people believe Holland and Holland developed the first true Rook rifles, but the reality is that similar design existed before they put their name on them. As the years went on, the demand for Rook cartridges declined, and many of these rifles were either forgotten or rechambered for more common calibers. Despite that, the original Rook rifles remain some of the most beautifully crafted firearms ever made, and if you ever get the chance to handle one, you'll immediately understand why they're so beloved by those who use them. One of the first things you'll notice about a Rook rifle is just how elegant and lightweight it is. These weren't bulky hunting rifles meant for big game. They were refined, perfectly balanced firearms designed for precision shooting. Most of them features octagonal to round barrels, a sleek transition that not only looked beautiful but also kept the rifle's weight down while maintaining strength. The craftsmanship on these rifles is something you don't just see in the mass-produced firearms today. Many of them had fine engravings, checkered stocks, and high-quality wood that gave each rifle a unique, almost custom feel. Even the way they operated was beautifully simple. A top lever or side lever would break the action open, allowing you to load a single cartridge with ease. It was a design focused on efficiency and reliability, and even today, a well-maintained Rook rifle feels incredibly smooth to operate. Despite their lightweight construction, these rifles were built to last. I have Rook rifles that are well over 100 years old, and they still function flawlessly. That's a testament to the skill of the gunsmith who built them. Even the smallest details, like the checkering on the stocks or the engraved markings on the receiver, show a level of attention that's missing in many modern firearms. Another feature that sets them apart is how quiet they are. A lot of people assume a centerfire rifle will always be louder than a rimfire, but that's not necessarily true with Rook rifles. The cartridges they used were often loaded to subsonic speed, meaning they produced very little noise, comparable to modern 22 subsonic rounds. That made them ideal for discreet hunting in areas where noise was a concern. So when you hold a Rook rifle, you're not just holding an old gun. You're holding a piece of history, a work of art, and a prime example of what firearms used to be before the industry became obsessed with cutting costs. These rifles were built to perform, and they still do, even after more than a century. One of the most interesting things about Rook rifles is the ammunition they use. Unlike the ever-popular 22 LR, which is rimfire, these rifles were designed for centerfire cartridges, and that alone makes a huge difference in performance, reliability, and versatility. Back in the day, Rook cartridges were some of the most well-balanced small game rounds available. They weren't designed to be high-velocity screamers like modern varmint cartridges. Instead, they relied on moderate speeds, excellent accuracy, and clean energy transfer to get the job done efficiently. The bullets were often larger and heavier than 22, which meant better terminal performance on a small game without excessive meat damage. The most common calibers for these rifles included the .360 Rook and later adoptions like the .32 S&W Long and .38 Special. Some Rook rifles even found a new life by being rechambered for .410 shotgun shells when their original ammo became scarce. That's why you'll sometimes find them with smooth-bore barrels today. What makes these centerfire cartridges so special is their reliability. Early rimfire ammunition wasn't as dependable as it is today. In fact, manufacturing rimfire rounds used to be a hit or miss process, with priming compounds often settling unevenly inside the case. That meant misfires were more common. With centerfire, you don't have that issue. The ignition system is more consistent, and the brass cases are reloadable, which is a huge advantage if you're into hand loading. Even today, a properly loaded .32 S&W Long in a Rook rifle will outperform a .22 LR in many ways. It's got more knockdown power, it's just as accurate, and in many cases, it's just as quiet. A lot of people don't realize that because .22 LR became the default choice for small game, but if you look at the ballistics, it's clear why Rook cartridges were so effective. The challenge today is finding ammo. Original Rook cartridges are long gone from store shelves, but shooters have found workarounds by using similar modern calibers. If you own a Rook rifle, chances are you can find or modify an existing cartridge to keep it running, and when you do, you'll see just how impressive these old rifles really are. There's something special about shooting a Rook rifle. It's not just another small game gun. It's an experience. From the moment you pick it up, you notice how lightweight and well-balanced it is. These rifles were designed for fast, precise shots, and that's exactly how they perform. One of the biggest advantages of a Rook rifle is its accuracy. These weren't mass-produced plinkers like the 22s you find today. They were carefully made, often by hand, with high-quality barrels that delivered incredible precision. The sights were usually set for 50 to 100 yards, which was perfect for their intended purpose. Whether you were hunting rabbits, squirrels, or even birds like rooks and crows, you can count on these rifles to put rounds exactly where you wanted them. Another major benefit is how smooth and effortless they are to operate. The single-shot design keeps things simple. Break the action, insert a round, close it up, and you're ready to fire. The triggers on these rifles are often fantastic, light, crisp, and responsive. That makes a huge difference when it comes to shot placement, especially on small targets. And let's talk about noise. You think a centerfire rifle would be loud, but that's not the case here. A lot of these rifles shoot velocity rounds that produce a sound comparable to a .22 LR subsonic load. That makes them ideal for hunting in areas where noise is a concern. You can take out pests without disturbing the entire countryside. When you combine all of this, accuracy, smooth operation, and minimal noise, you get one of the best small game rifles ever made. The Rook rifle isn't just functional, it's a joy to shoot. And once you fire one, you start to wonder why more people don't know about them. Rook rifles may not be as mainstream as modern rimfire rifles, but in the collector's world, they're a treasure. These aren't just functional firearms. They're historical pieces, built in an era when craftsmanship and attention to detail were at their peak. And because they were made in relatively small numbers compared to mass-produced .22 rifles, they're getting rarer by the day. If you're into classic firearms, owning a Rook rifle is like owning a piece of shooting history. Many of the best ones came from renowned manufacturers like Holland & Holland, Wesley Richards, and W.W. Greener. These names are legendary in the gun world, and anything they produce holds serious value. Even lesser-known makers put out high-quality Rook rifles that are sought after by collectors. One of the biggest factors in collectability is condition. Since these rifles are well over 100 years old, finding one in excellent shape isn't always easy. Original chambering also plays a big role. If a rifle is still in its factory caliber, it's usually worth more than one that's been rechambered or modified. But even converted models still hold value, especially if they were done professionally. Prices for Rook rifles have been steadily rising, and they show no signs of slowing down. Unlike modern rifles that depreciate as soon as you buy them, these tend to increase in value over time. If you ever come across one for sale at a decent price, it's worth serious consideration. Not only are you getting an incredible firearm, but you're also making a solid investment in a piece of history. So where does the Rook rifle stand today? Is it just a relic of the past, or does it still have a place in the world of shooting and hunting? The truth is, while they aren't as widely known as they once were, Rook rifles still have a loyal following. Collectors love them for their history and craftsmanship, while shooters appreciate their accuracy and smooth operation. If you're looking for a rifle that's both functional and beautiful, there really aren't many modern firearms that compare. That being said, there are some challenges. Ammunition availability is the biggest one. Since most of these rifles are chambered in obscure cartridges, finding the right round isn't always easy. However, for those who are willing to experiment, there are often modern alternatives that can be safely used. Hand loading is another option, allowing enthusiasts to bring these rifles back to life in a way that factory ammunition simply can't. As more people rediscover these rifles, there's a growing interest in preserving them, whether through careful restoration or simply keeping them in shooting condition. Rook rifles aren't disappearing anytime soon, and honestly, that's a good thing. Because in a world filled with mass-produced firearms, it's refreshing to see a rifle that was made with such care and precision. So while they may no longer be in production, their legacy lives on. And for those lucky enough to own one, they know exactly why these rifles are still worth talking about. At the end of the day, the Rook rifle is a perfect example of why old doesn't mean obsolete. These rifles may not be as common as .22s, but in many ways, they're superior, more reliable, more accurate, and infinitely more refined. They were designed in an era when quality mattered more than quantity, and that craftsmanship still shines through today. If you never handled one, I highly recommend keeping an eye out, whether you're a collector or just someone who appreciates fine firearms. A Rook rifle is a fantastic addition to any collection, and if you ever get a chance to shoot one, don't pass it up. It might just surprise you. Thanks for watching as always. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.